And welcome back to the Cover 3 podcast here on CBS Sports. That's Tom Fornelli. That's Danny Kanell. That's Bud Elliott. I'm Chip Patterson coming to you live at youtube.com/Cover3 and everywhere you get your podcasts on demand. Thanks for hanging out. Smash that subscribe, smash that like, and come and join us in the chat, a.k.a. the Cover 3 Tailgate. We're at 9:43 a.m. Eastern Time. Preston jumped in and said, can Jackson Arnold revenge game overcome the aura of Moneyline Mateer? And Brett, just a little while later, said, someone tell me how to look at this Utah-Texas Tech game. Both have had 0 tests. Well, guess what? That's exactly what this show is for, because here on a Wednesday, we're going to be doing big game breakdown, going inside the matchup of that Texas Tech-Utah Big 12 battle out in Salt Lake City, of Auburn traveling to Norman to play Oklahoma. Plus, we'll give a spotlight on the latest in the Billy Napier tour as they travel on down to go face Miami. The Iron Skillet always gets our attention. Arizona State and Baylor. Listen, that game in Salt Lake City is not the only very important Big 12 conference game we've got this weekend. Tulane-Ole Miss and so much more from the Week 4 slate. We got a little bit of time on the Big 10 matchups, and similar to the way we would if we were on CBS Sports Network, I want to make sure that, we offer up one last word. Anything else on Michigan, Nebraska, or Indiana, Illinois that we did not get a chance to get to on Tuesday?
I have a correction to make.
Okay.
On the show, I said that Michigan's touchdown against Oklahoma came after the muff punt. It didn't. It came on a one-play, 75-yard drive when Justice Haynes broke loose for the long run. After the muff punt, they couldn't get a first down and had to kick a field goal. So my point stands. The offense really struggled. But
the point stands is we did not see a 12-play, 75-yard drive. We did not see a march all the way down the field. All very, very much a part of that. Before we get it, we got Day Trading Danny coming up in just a little bit too. Is Dabo Sweeney involved in day trading, Danny?
There is a relative to Dabo Sweeney that will be featured.
Well, let's
Dino Sweeney.
A related trade.
Okay, well, let's before we talk, let's maybe take any Dat Boy conversations and let's put it in that. Let's check out the stock market with Day Trading Danny.
I feel so much better today as the market opens. Ding, ding, ding. I have my trading logbook. I couldn't find it last week. Now I've got it. So I've been able to register my trades. Went back and noted the ones from last week. And I'm going to start it off with ticker symbol.
Oh,
JKS. Yeah. Jaron Kiawe Sagapolatele.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
If you're going to buy up some JKS stock, you better say the dang name right. My man is on fire. He was impressive in some blowout wins, but then in the win against Minnesota, clean sheet, 3 touchdowns with the dub. Cal's a team that I think when we did the win totals, like, good luck, Justin Wilcox. Like, you'll be looking for a job next year. You know what he might be looking for now? A spot in the college football playoff, because their schedule, much like Georgia Tech's, is one of the easier ones in the ACC. Get in your JKS stock now before it explodes and people nationally start taking notice of the lefty who's slinging it. True freshman, looks great, got there in January. This has been an unbelievable find for Cal. It's fun. Thank goodness the ACC has a team out in the West Coast that's kind of turning some heads. I'd love to see them surprise. I kid with the playoffs, kind of, because their schedule is very manageable. I wonder if they can keep it up, but he is a special talent.
Perfect culture fit, a lefty at Cal.
That's right. The Calgorithm's got to clip that.
Yeah.
Wow. Love it.
Yeah.
Before we move on, I'm glad you mentioned that, because there is but look, it has become one of the topics du jour, especially they come off the win against Minnesota to say, like, well, look, how many games are they going to lose? Are they going to be this year's Indiana? Are they going to show up? I don't want to pour cold water on this, but are we positive? Are we positive that this is a trustworthy operation to go through and win every single game that you're favored to win? Because you can tell me, you're going to be favored to win this many more games, but
No.
Okay, because
No.
I think we've got a real crab in a bucket scenario with some of these ACC teams where we call SMU schedule easy. Like, go look at, and I'm not ready to declare that there is a team that I trust enough to go through all of those games and meet expectations every single week.
To be fair to Cal, I don't trust Georgia Tech either. Like, I think they will. Like, they're favored in every one of their games until they face Georgia, but it's the ACC. The ACC has done ACC things for a long time. We've seen more surprising outcomes than if Cal would lose to a Boston College. Like, we've seen more surprising things. So I'm saying get in now while the stock is a little bit lower, while the cat's still not out of the bag. Get you some JKS early. This is another one. Now, I should have bought him last week. I would say I dabbled in this stock before the season. I'm going to buy up some Josh Hoover, who only has 2 games. Last time we saw him, he was out in the national stage. He was slinging the rock against North Carolina. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the country, and guess who he faces now with the Iron Skillet game? SMU, who owns the ACC's worst pass defense, who we already saw Sawyer Robertson slice and dice, especially in that second half, bringing them back. Josh Hoover is going to have a field day against that one. Also, Chip and I, we're doing some picks later. Might like the over in that one. Think it could be another track meet type game. But Josh Hoover is pretty special, so I'm going to snatch some of his stock up before that game.
I think TCU's got the offensive line for that as well, man. Like, they look pretty good up front.
Yeah, agreed. They've looked really good. Haven't been tested too much yet, but we'll find out. I don't know if they're going to get tested against SMU either. All right, I've got to sell. This one pains me because I had him as one of the hottest quarterbacks coming into the season, and I thought he could take his team to the playoffs. Mentioned this the other day. I'm selling my Austin Simmons with 4 interceptions and a little banged up. And guess who I'm buying up in his place? Trinidad Chambliss out of Ferris State to replace him. So this is a little stock maneuvering. We're moving around our portfolio a little bit. So it's the same basket of stocks in that Ole Miss offense. But Trinidad Chambliss, they're favored against Tulane. They should be able to win this game. I think it could be a little bit closer. Tulane's playing pretty good football. But I think this is going to be a more tougher decision for Lane Kiffin if Trinidad Chambliss keeps balling out. Maybe it's not a decision at all. If he plays like he did against Arkansas, where he was absolutely on fire, I don't think it'll be a decision at all. I think you just keep rolling with him. Somewhat concerned, how do you sit on being the starter at Ole Miss? But from what I've seen so far, somebody who helped them win a championship at Division II, Ferris State, I'm buying Trinidad Chambliss.
I will say this, like selling Simmons, a lot of folks in college football media have been taking heat for preseason quarterback rankings. Listen, this has been like a Black Friday situation when it comes to the quarterback market. It is just in a very bad place compared to what everybody expected overall. This is a time where the smart investors like Danny can take advantage of the undervalued assets.
That's right. You don't buy them on the way down. You buy them on the way up as they're coming up. That's why I'm getting some Trinidad Chambliss there. Speaking of quarterbacks who have been atrocious, this is highly risky. This is something I do not recommend to do this with any money that you take seriously.
You do it?
More. I'm going to dabble in 2 stocks. I'm going to dabble in some Arch Manning. I'm going to get him now while it's about as low as it's been. Now, we talked the other day about how I'm concerned about his confidence, and I am. They play Sam Houston State. They're a 40-point favorite. He's got to play his way out of this slump. He has to. He absolutely has to play his way out of this slump. Then they go to Florida. If he gets his confidence up, that defense, I wouldn't be surprised if they're able to win that game. This is a highly risky pick, though. Like, I am willing to admit this is highly risky, as well as a quarterback who just threw 5 interceptions. And he did it at LSU. I'm talking, these are bankruptcy pickups. I mean, these are filed for Chapter 7 for most of their fans, or 11. I don't know what chapter it is, but one of those filings they filed. I'm buying them while they're low on DJ Lagway and Arch Manning, just to dabble, just to see if I can get them maybe at the bottom of the market. Not saying they're Heisman winners. Don't touch those stocks, but I'm buying that maybe they're not as bad as we thought.
But we need to get our legal team in order to make sure that we scrub the tape, because I fear allegations of market manipulation when Danny comes on here on Monday and
I agree.
he calls Arch Manning Ben Simmons, Markel Fultz on Monday, drives the price down, and then
you know what I
comes in for a
actually
big buy.
you know I actually appreciated when he was talking to the media. He's like, I just have to play better. Didn't make any excuses.
Yes.
I like that. So I think
Me
he's got what it takes. Like, for people that say, oh, he played at a small school and it's been so bad, but it's been ugly. I am not sugarcoating it. I am concerned about him, but I'm dabbling, just going to buy a little bit here at what hopefully is the low point of Arch Manning's career. Like, I don't think he's Heisman Trophy. I still think Texas misses the playoffs, but I think this could be the low point. We hope. If not, we'll see. And DJ Lagway, if he realizes his defense is only giving up 2 touchdowns on the season, maybe he'll stop throwing it to the other team. That's what I'm hoping for him. That's why I'm buying there.
Yeah, we'll get into that game a little bit more later. Yeah. But the fact that DJ Lagway is so clearly, and the offense in general is so clearly the issue for Florida right now, is was not on my bingo card, as they say.
One more play. I don't know if people are aware of this, if you're not super involved in the markets, but you can sell stocks short, which means you can make money on the way down. Mm-hmm. Old Fornelli advisors got my ear on this one. I'm selling my Cade. I'm selling even more. Like, I sold my stock. Now I'm shorting it to say, I don't know what's going on. I know Dabo's out there and he's pounding the table and he's saying, fire me if you don't like it. I wonder if Cade Klubnik, now the Cade Clemson fans are not going to like this, but do you remember how emphatically Dabo defended DJU? Like, he was, I wonder if Cade's confidence is finally rocked to the point where I think he can be good. I just don't think he can be great. I think they win this weekend, but I'm selling short Cade Klubnik as a playoff quarterback. I don't think Clemson makes the playoffs this year. I don't think they're bailed out like they have been in the past. I think it's just going to be a rough year for Clemson, which for their standard is probably 9-3, which is incredible. It's a problem that a lot of schools would love to have. I think there's something different about this team.
Did you watch? I'm guessing, you probably got Supercut, the highlights, right? But
oh yeah,
the full 54 minutes of Dabo at the mic.
Watch it all? Did you look?
It seems to me that the things that are getting under Dabo's skin is not, I know that Dabo's a huge fan of the Cover 3 podcast. I know that he's aware of a lot of the national voices. It sounds to me like it is some of the voices that are the closest to the program, that the frustrations from powerful individuals and from, tastemakers within the Clemson community, that their frustrations are the ones that he's like, hey, whoa, look what I've done for you. And then that's leading to a little bit of a schism within the Clemson football fan base, right? Where I've seen some reasonable voices that are like, hey guys, grass might not be greener. There is at least, it seems to me that he is not doing the Roy bus in the way that like nobody believes in you. I think he is frustrated at some of the fans, and because I don't think he listens to every single message board post or radio call, but I think that there's probably some people within the Clemson community that he does hear from, and he's a little bit frustrated with how they're talking about his football program right now.
Strong market indicator for Dabo has been, he had tried to have a pizza party, ordered all those pizzas, was told they weren't going to get the discount this time. That's a problem.
It does sound very late stage Bobby Bowden-ish, and Dabo's a little young to be pulling this card. You remember all that stuff with Bobby and Ann, man, at the very end? It was like, they're lucky they have me. They'll never win without me. All that kind of stuff. It got kind of,
it's
as
not
a guy
there
who just
yet.
covered Florida State back then, I was like, oh, this feels a lot like what Bobby, like, man, Clemson's a hell of a program, and Dabo has done a major part to make it that. But this also feels like the if not now win type year for them, because they haven't exactly crushed quarterback recruiting recently. So, were they going to go out and buy somebody in the portal? Maybe so. They were willing to do so this past year. But they got a lot of guys who won't be on this team next year.
Shout out to Fox Mulder in the chat, who said 0 Stockton references in this stock exchange. Stay tuned. That could be a preview for next week, as Georgia is on a bye this week.
like Dabo said he could go somewhere else and win. So like, let's say just for hypothetical, Dabo leaves Clemson, whether it's on his own or he gets fired.
Alabama.
Like is Florida hiring Dabo? Is Alabama hiring Dabo? Just based on how things have gone there and just his approach to running a program right now in this current environment, how attractive do you think Dabo is on the open market?
I could see Florida hiring Dabo.
After a 8-4 season?
Yeah.
I would want to have assurances that he'd be willing to embrace the portal more. And I think that's something that is his biggest issue still. And I've rooted for him to buck the trend. I like what he's trying to do. I just think it's like trying to win in the NFL just through the draft. Like you're not taking advantage of free agency. And I appreciate his attempt, but I think we're seeing returns that it's not great against the teams that are.
So the Cade Klubnik, what is Cade Klubnik at his best right now? Like when Cade Klubnik, because there have been plays through the first 3 weeks of the season where you're like, hey, that was a good play, Cade. We can put together a supercut of, it's not a really, really long one, but we could put together a supercut of some good stuff.
I mean, does Antonio Williams make that much of a difference? His left tackle was out as well. So they are going to get pieces back for him, but that's where I feel like he's a player who can really be good if he's got good support around him. And I think the best quarterbacks are guys like Haynes King, Diego Pavia. I think you've seen it from John Mateer. Like historically, great quarterbacks are when things are taken away or you lose certain pieces, you're able to elevate your play to make everybody around you better. And I haven't seen that from Cade.
When I was thinking about this during the Georgia Tech game, and it is because of the offense he is running and his offensive coordinator, but I said, oh, he's doing Max Duggan stuff. And
Yeah.
Max Duggan was fine. Max Duggan led his team to a national championship game. Max Duggan was very productive. That's a pretty good college quarterback. That's not the first round NFL draft pick kind of grade and conversation that was going into this season.
I never bought that though. I liked him as a college quarterback, but even when I started seeing him on draft boards as a top 10 pick, I'm like, I don't see it from a potential standpoint.
I don't think Cade would start at every program in the country compared to like two teams have, but I think Cade is good enough to where there isn't a Power 4 school where I don't think he could play at. It just depending at, like this talent around him. I just don't think Clemson has the talent around him. Like I'm not a big Cade guy as far as his NFL projection or being one of the top quarterbacks in the country, but I do think he's talented enough that if he had a very good offensive line and he had very good run game and he had really good receivers around him and he was just a point guard, he'd be wonderful, because then all you'd really need for him to do is get the ball out and scramble when you need to.
I mean, and you talk about coming from inside the house. You got Eric McLean running through Exos coaches film, just calling out everything. Why are you bringing this guy in motion? That's an extra hat into the box. How are you even going to win running the football into loaded boxes? I mean, tense times in the upstate. All right, sorry, didn't mean to derail that, but I know there was a lot of Clemson conversation in the tailgate, so if we could include it. Anything else from the stock report?
Nope, that's it. Market's closed.
Market's closed. Coming up on the other side, we turn our attention to some of the biggest matchups in Week 4. It is Big Game Breakdown and more. Next.
Name's Conrad Harrigan, family man. And if you cross my family, well, you'd better pray.
Mobland, new series streaming March 30th on Paramount Plus.
Always just literally a boatload of fun to be able to just dive into these matchups. Our best bets are going to be coming on Thursday for our Locks edition of the Cover 3 podcast. But today, on Wednesday, it is Big Game Breakdown. All right, let's start out there. Noon Eastern time, 10 a.m. Mountain time, Salt Lake City. Texas Tech coming into town to take on Utah. There was the comment in the tailgate at the beginning of the show. How do I even look at this game? Neither of these teams have had to really, face any real competition. I mean, we thought Utah had in name a power conference opener, but all the evidence since then suggests that I don't know if we can take much out of that game. But I do think these are both the most the most dangerous teams in the Big 12. I think they both have the highest ceilings in the Big 12. And now we get to see maybe the first of two matchups, especially because they'll both have a long journey before the end of the season as well, but just a massive part of the Big 12 title race. But first word here, where do you start to look at this and feel like you do have a grasp of how these two teams line up against each other?
Okay, so I think the one notable is that Utah offensive line against the Texas Tech D-line. Like, Texas Tech spent a boatload of money on the defensive line. I don't know if they got quite what maybe that same amount of money would have got us last year, but they definitely got a lot of quality pieces who can play big-time college football and are good players. And that unit so far has absolutely wrecked everybody up front. Now, granted, like you said, the schedule has been tissue paper soft. On the other hand, Utah's offensive line has looked pretty damn good as well. That tackle tandem is fantastic. They're going to get a lot of 11-man run game with the quarterback, Dampier, and that pretty inventive Jason Beck scheme. So I'm really excited. Like, that's the kind of the key matchup of studs v. studs to watching this game. It's probably like the one that if there is a big advantage there on either side, it's probably good night for the other team, because like I think both teams would probably go into this game expecting a bit of a stalemate there, right? Like, this is our good on their good. We probably won't dominate them. They probably won't dominate us. Like, Bailey is more of a pass rusher for Texas Tech than he is a run defender. So, I'm interested to see how they handle him. Like, do they read off him in the QB option game? Do they try to just run right at him? I don't know, but like, that's going to be something I'm watching early on for sure. And Utah's got a young tight end, JJ Buchanan, who I think this guy might be a stud, man. Like, really athletic kid. He's playing like actual snaps for Utah as a true freshman. Doesn't happen a whole lot. So how does he look in the blocking game? They kind of split him out so far. Haven't really had him in the run game stuff just as yet. Not a ton. He's a little light for now, but how much does he factor in here as well?
Yeah, and like, going further on that Tech defensive front, like what we've seen from them in 3 games, and a lot of this is, opponent dependent, and the fact the scores just show it. But they've also been very deep on their defensive line in that they are rotating guys in and out. And where like David Bailey's the headliner, Romello Heights the headliner, like a lot of guys have been getting snaps, and they've all typically been playing pretty well. I think their linebackers are playing very well in the run. They're flying to the ball. Jacob Rodriguez has been fantastic. And just overall, you look at the stats, like offensively, they've been incredible, and that's getting a ton of attention. But they're 5th in success rate on defense. They are 6th in rushing EPA on defense, and they're 19th in pressure rate. So they've been good at both stopping the run and handling against the pass. So that's point. So this is going to be big against Utah, because as Bud mentioned, like, the Utah offensive line isn't just the best offensive line in the Big 12. It's one of the best offensive lines in the country. There are NFL players on it. So that is going to be a huge matchup for them. I love the idea of what you're mentioning with Bailey, because if I am Utah, I think I'm running right at him. I'm looking where he is pre-snap, and that's where I'm sending my running game. So, because he needs to prove he can hold up against it. That's been the knock on him in the scouting community for a while. Nobody questions his ability to get after the quarterback. And that's where things are interesting, because both of these offenses have been very good, but they're kind of going about it in different ways. Tech is extremely explosive. Their explosive play rate right now is 2nd in the country. They trail only USC, whereas Utah is 78th. They're very much a move the chains kind of offense, and their passing game has been fine. It hasn't really been explosive. Dampier has been the main guy. He's been what the focal point or the fulcrum of the offense has been. And what they do is they put together long drives. Dampier keeps the chains moving with his legs when he has to, or just making the throws when he needs to. They get to the red zone and they finish. Like, they have been to the red zone on 52% of their possessions, and they're averaging 5.63 points per trip when they get there. That's a very, very effective approach to playing football on offense. So if you're Texas Tech, are you going to use a guy like Rodriguez to spy Dampier? You probably will, but how effective will it be? And can you continue to get pressure on him? But can you get pressure on Dampier while keeping him hemmed in the pocket? Because if you're getting pressure but allowing him lanes to escape, you're going to kill yourself.
I think that's the biggest dynamic in this game is the completely different styles of the quarterbacks. Barron Morton will sit back there and pick you apart from the pocket. They will take their shots down the field, and they have been hitting him. But they've got to protect him because he's not the most elusive. He doesn't like to escape the pocket. He is more of a pure pocket passer. And on the flip side, Dampierre is a weapon as a runner. The most important thing for him, he's been clean with turnovers. That was something he struggled at last year. And I would imagine when you face better competition like you are this weekend, that becomes a little bit more risky, something to keep an eye on. Like, how does he take care of the football in a game like this? When it's a little bit tighter, less margin for error, you're going to be asked to do more, even carrying the football. But they've got a difference maker in the run game, and Texas Tech does not. I hate that this game's at 10 a.m. local too, by the way.
Yeah,
I hate it for these kids. Like, and I hate it for the fans, like having to get there. What do you get there at 7 a.m. to tailgate? Yeah. It's going to be a little bit lethargic at the start. I'm sure they have a great scene. It's a great field, great environment there at Rice Eccles. I just hate for everybody that's at 10 a.m.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a big factor here because, like, you have to survive the first quarter because it's reasonable to expect that the play early could be sloppy. And if you make a couple mistakes because of, like, the weird time, because nobody starts games at 10 a.m. Like, who's ever played a game at 10 a.m. at home? But, yeah, I think the first quarter will be huge.
So the chat does point out that the Utah fans are probably drinking a little bit less than normal fans, so they may not need a lot of time.
I disagree. Don't get your BYU generalizations confused with your Utah generalizations because the colors on the uniforms are not the only things that Utah fans and BYU fans don't always see eye to eye on.
Got to make the special call for that unleaded Coca-Cola. Let's see here. Other things I'm interested in, if Texas Tech has to end up blitzing a lot, which right now they've not had to because they've only able to get home with 4, who wins that matchup? Because so far, Texas Tech DBs look great. I think Utah's receivers are just kind of meh to me. Utah does a lot to scheme those guys open. Like, if you have to have a lot of one-on-ones, how well does Texas Tech hold up in the back end? Because I'm not really sure how much pressure Texas Tech's going to get with 4. Do they end up blitzing a lot here? Do you risk the big play? As Tom noted, Utah has been like absolutely deadly in the red zone for the most part, with the exception of when their kicker missed all those field goals last week against Wyoming in kind of a weird, obvious flat spot.
Great for the underside. Come on, bud.
Yeah. On the other side, like with these Texas Tech receivers have been awesome, and I don't think that Utah has faced a lot of really good pass catchers so far. UCLA's guys are actually okay to me, but everybody else they've faced, not really. So, like looking at that, there are a lot of fun unknowns in this game, but these do look like so far probably the 2 best teams in the Big 12.
I know Joe McGuire, that was Joe McGuire's big concern coming into the season. He felt really good about his front 7. The back end was what he was worried about, and they've been trying to figure out who's standing out, who's there. Still haven't been tested. I think like they're going to get tested in this game,
and it may not be a problem.
Right?
We'll see.
Also, your boy Buchanan's not the only tight end that we could see, in here. And that's where it's not necessary. You might not have that huge game breaker on the outside, but Dallin Bentley's got 11 catches for 112 yards so far on the season. That's second on the team in receptions. Hunter Andrews has got 8 catches through 3 games so far. So it might not be that true game-breaking wide receiver. It might be some matchup issues for Texas Tech in terms of being able to defend against not just maybe 11 personnel, but even if they start bringing out multiple tight ends as receiving threats, seeing how Texas Tech matches up with that, because that's not what Texas Tech always has to face. I mean, this is where Utah in the Big 12, when they arrived, we thought about them as having the opportunity to be a little bit of a stylistic challenge in addition to being the elevation that they have at Salt Lake. And yeah, I as much as I try to draw the line between Utah and BYU, it still is 10 a.m. and the student section, the muss, ain't going to be rocking like on those Pac-12 after dark games when they were, kicking off at 8 local and you were able to really see them rise to the occasion.
You mentioned Dallin Bentley. I mean, he was playing for Snow College in 2022. So I'm trying to think, like, when was this kid? Like, they might have like a 24-year-old tight end here. He's a big dude. That's a nice advantage for Utah.
For Texas Tech, do you see the environment as a real difference maker? Like, are they going to be ready to go up there and, still
altitude
play?
as well? Altitude
Yeah.
is always something that I just always remind people, having played in Denver at altitude, it's just more challenging.
Utah is, to me, the biggest home field / like road split of any team in the country. Like that's legitimate. We talked about this 2 years ago when Florida went up there, and Florida just kind of self-destructed, right? Like, and that's not like trying to crap on the Gators. Utah plays extremely well at home. That is a tough place to play.
When one last thought here, or I don't want, it doesn't have to be the final one, but what's the tempo approach? Bud, I mean, you're our tempo guy.
Yeah, I can't see Utah. I cannot see Utah trying to match the tempo of Texas Tech.
Right.
I think they'll try to hold the football, not let Texas Tech get out there and run. Texas Tech can do a little bit of variable tempo, but I'm not really sure how much of that is just they've had huge leads in games. Like last week, they clearly let off the gas there in the second half, probably in preparation, for this ball game. If I'm Texas Tech, I'm trying to go fast as I can.
That it's even harder to do at altitude, though.
I was going to say, even at altitude, that's.
I mean, Morton has been playing so well. Like, he looks back to full health. And he also looks better than he's ever looked. So I want that kid with the ball in his hands as many times as possible.
And if I'm Utah, I want to put a body on him.
Yeah. Utah's been a little bit better defensively than I thought they would be. I thought this offense was going to have to carry this team this year, and the defense has come to play.
Yep. When's the last
Bro
time?
clutchers beware. Utah should hit him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Was it last season that that somebody tried to come for us for that one?
Oh my God, Notre Dame fans
man.
were so furious at us for suggesting that somebody should hit their running quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go watch soccer.
Yeah, Texas Tech played at Wyoming last season or the season before?
Texas Tech played at Wyoming
2 years ago.
2 years ago?
Yeah, it was my Twitter tip. It did not go well, even though,
they threw like 3 or 4 picks. They had some crazy bounces in that thing. Yeah, that might have been 2 years ago.
Yeah. So at least they will have at least been as a program, as a staff, they will have handled this once already. All right, let's take a look at the ongoings in Norman, Oklahoma. We, of course, when the headline is the quarterbacks, but the quarterbacks deliver the narratives, it's impossible not to start there. Jackson Arnold goes back into the stadium where he was the starter, and then he was benched, and then he had to get back in there, and then his play caller changed, and his offensive coordinator changed, and he needed a fresh start. So here he is, 3-0 as a starter, 8 touchdowns to 0 turnovers so far through 3 games with Hugh Freeze's Tigers. And of course, he's going up against Moneyline Mateer, who I saw is already here in the tailgate hanging out. We always appreciate it. Moneyline Mateer, we do need you on Thursday. Make sure you can come here. But if you want to drop your tips, now is definitely a good opportunity for that as well. DK, when you're considering the mindset and the skill set of these two quarterbacks, what do you think is going to be some of the big impacts that you're looking for in this matchup?
So I think Jackson Arnold's stats are a little bit misleading. I mean, they look really good on paper, but they have not really excelled in the pass game yet, considering the weapons that they've got, and Cam Coleman and Eric Singleton. That to me, and I don't picture Jackson Arnold rushing for over 100 against his old team either. R. Mason Thomas being out for the first half for Oklahoma is something to keep an eye on, but I think it's going to be a long day for Jackson Arnold. I think Brent Venables, I think this team, I think they're going to be ready for him. And then Mateer, who, by the way, has a lot of fans among the female colleagues of ours at the CBS Sports HQ office. They have taken notice of his incredible playmaking ability.
Sexist.
Yeah, that's why I said they're really impressed with his play. He has delivered. I was really impressed with Oklahoma. I thought it was a kind of a letdown game, potential like flat start. They came out from start to finish and dominated at Temple in a sleepy environment. Their defense might be one of the best in the SEC. Home field, I think it's going to be rocking. I just feel like this is going to be a long day for Jackson Arnold and Auburn.
I tend to agree. I think one of the matchups here to watch that you got to be really jacked up is Jeremiah Wright, the guard for Auburn, against what's probably the best interior players in the country. Ooh. Certainly the SEC, right? I mean, you get David Stone, you get Jackson, You get Dominic Williams, who Oklahoma paid up for huge last year, and he really didn't play all that well for them last year. And this year he's come on and played like it's his NFL money year, not just his transfer portal money year. Like that, Auburn has been so good on the offensive line. I know we said early on that they were told internally that they had like 6 draftable players on the O-line eventually if they all hit. And, man, it looks like they're hitting pretty good. So if I'm Venables, I'm not letting Jackson Arnold beat me or like with his arm, or I'm daring him to do so. Like, I'm not going to let Auburn run the football on me, and I'm not going to lose to Jackson Arnold's legs. So if he can beat me throwing the ball, which is very possible, right? Because they got some serious weapons on the outside there for the Tigers. That's what I think happens there. With Mateer, he does
not
so
sold,
much
are
fun
you?
stuff, and he makes so many big time throws, man. But there is a lot of like stuff that he does that so far he has gotten away with that could lose a ball game for him. Okay, like unnecessary jump passes, I would put in that category. They run this little mesh play with the deep crosser behind it, and he so far doesn't seem to notice that at all. And it just like I'm like, that guy, the ball needs to be out now. Like, that play is open, and he runs around, he scrambles, and he finds a completion later on. But that's not really the design. And eventually, that could get him in trouble. He's still really good. Like, I mean, quarterback playmaking wise, I don't think there's been anybody in the SEC who's been better. But like, as far as sustainability, to Tom's point, there are some questions.
The man's a chaos agent. I love him.
I mean, he got away with it all year last year, right? So, and Oklahoma certainly knew what they were getting with him. It's not like a new offensive coordinator is going to unlock something potentially. Although maybe you hope some of this goes away with the second year in a row of OC Ben Arbuckle, who also came from Wazoo. I think Auburn's defensive line's key here. Their interior has been a little bit better than I thought it'd be. Falk is a total beast on the edge.
Mm-hmm.
That is where this game could be won or lost. Like, if Keldrick Falk could beat Oklahoma by himself, right? If he just abuses these young tackles for Oklahoma, which is possible, then Auburn's got a real shot to win the game. If they neutralize him, I think it's OU.
Going back to what you were saying there, Danny, about like Auburn's passing attack, like we've talked about it. They have very good receivers, and PFF grades aren't the end all be all. Like, I disagree with some of them based on what I see and based on what they put up at certain games, but just using them as a guideline here, Auburn's passing offense score is 59.0, which among the Power 4 teams ranks 60th of 68 teams. Now, if you rank 60th of 68, despite having the talent you have at wide receiver, what does that tell you the problem likely is? So I agree with you, Bud. If I'm Brent Venables, and we just saw this 2 weeks ago, I'm going up against a team that I feel plays one-handed because of where they are right now. Like, Michigan played one-handed because they don't really trust in their receivers, and they were missing their tight end in that game. They had to try to run the ball to have any real success. So I tried to take that away and force the quarterback to beat me. They couldn't. Bryce Underwood really struggled. They're going to do the same thing here. It's going to be more difficult because of Auburn's receivers. But I think that when I look at this Oklahoma defense, like, it is very, 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 very good up front. And especially, I think, in the back. I think the secondary is very good. Cortland Guillory, I think, is one of the better corners that I've seen in the country so far. And I think he's probably going to find a whole lot of Cam Coleman in his life this weekend. And I think that he's capable of really kind of slowing him down. On the other side, going back to Mateer, like, this isn't the locks pod, but we can't take player props on the locks. John Mateer rushing overs looking a little appealing to me, because if you looked at Auburn's defense so far this year, they miss a lot of tackles, especially in the run game. And they have already allowed 136 scramble yards to quarterbacks, which ranks 131st nationally. So quarterbacks that have been able to get in the open field and move on, and when they have, Auburn has missed tackles doing so. I like Auburn's defensive line. The back end of that, the back seven, I'm not as sold on. So I think Mateer could scramble a lot if he's under pressure, or just because he's John Mateer and he decides, I want to go running for a little bit and maybe hit a linebacker, because that's just who John Mateer is. So, like, yeah, that's where I'm looking at. That's going to be really interesting to see if Auburn can hem him in and force him to be a pocket passer, because, as Bud was just going over, when he's a pocket passer, he misses a lot of things. He makes mistakes. He tries to take shots that aren't really there. So that's what my goal is if I'm Auburn defensively, but I just don't know if they are capable of doing it.
His rushing total on FanDuel is 52.5 right now.
I would take that.
I don't know. I mean, this got bet down a lot, but I think at open under was a very attractive play. I mean, it opened 52.5.
Yeah. I mean, I do not disagree with the move, and I'm not scared.
I don't know if I hate it now, but like I definitely liked it a lot at 52.5.
Yeah.
How much how much is Oklahoma blitzing in this game? Like constantly?
So they decided to blitz Underwood a lot.
Yeah.
Just on the idea they could cover those Michigan receivers, and maybe Rice wouldn't process it quick enough, which they were like 100% right on the first count and somewhat right on the second.
Mm-hmm. I just feel like they're very familiar with Jackson Arnold. They know what he struggles with, especially pre-snap. I think you are going to see a whole hell of a lot of blitzes from Oklahoma. Like if this game goes over, I have a feeling it'll be because Oklahoma scored a touchdown on defense.
I mean, you can guarantee Venables is pulling up his catapult and clicking like filter by turnover in practice, filter quarterback quarterback Jackson Arnold, filter what coverage did we play here? How did we disguise it? And that's probably what you'll see. Like they have all the practice film from last year. They know what stuff this guy struggles to read. Venables is probably like the master of disguise of our time. So
I think it is very interesting in comparison to, I mean, correct me if y'all saw this differently, but Dave Aranda said, oh my gosh, we cannot get beat by these wide receivers. These wide receivers are so good. We're going to do everything not to get beat by these wide receivers. Jackson Arnold eats them alive. It sounds like this is the opposite, which is the only thing Jackson Arnold can do to beat us is with his legs. So let's make sure that he doesn't do that and see if he can make throws to these very good wide receivers.
If the wind is high in this game, who does it favor?
Auburn.
I think so too.
Keep the ball.
Is there a forecast alert here? Was that?
Fighting Irish 595 in the chat says wind is supposedly pretty high.
Interesting.
I mean, it's Norman, Oklahoma.
It's
definitely leans
folks.
towards the under even stronger.
Yeah.
If I as a just amateur, as far as wind is concerned, it's Wednesday.
Yeah.
Wait till Saturday.
Ooh. Great call.
Yeah.
Looks like 8 mile an hour wind, according to one of the weather sites here. That's not really high enough for me to do something.
Come on. You get that through gate 6, you know?
Come on, chat. 8 mile an hour wind. We're Googling over 8 mile an hour.
Disgusting behavior.
Windy in Norman.
Coming up on the other side, we continue our run through some of the matchups in week 4 with a look at the Miami Hurricanes welcoming in Florida Gators and more next.
Only CBS Sports can bring you big time during the heart of Saturday afternoons. It's big time.
It's big time. It's big time. It's big time.
On CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus.
Back here on the Cover 3 podcast. Saw a note. If you would like Illinois, Indiana, big game breakdown, we gave that to you on Tuesday's show. Went inside the matchup, what to expect, and so much more. Totally unbiased, straight down the middle analysis, as you've always come to expect from the Cover 3 podcast.
I thought it was.
Yeah.
It was. No, we all have our biases, and your biases are you understand that team better than a lot. I think that bias is an advantage. I think all of our biases give us an advantage. Never at all blinded. And never. All right. Speaking of not being blinded by biases, let's talk about Florida and Miami. No, boys, saddle up.
We'll be watching this one closely.
What's Danny? You said you're going to buy in at the bottom for DJ Uyunglele. Are you? I mean, I don't know if he's going to have success against this Miami defense.
I thought it was Lagalele.
I
don't know what it was, but it was really a good one. So, how many times did they throw it against LSU?
A lot.
49, 52?
40 something, yeah.
Cut it in half versus Miami. Please, Billy Napier. Get your back Jaden Bogg going. Try to run the football. Test out Miami's rushing defense. We know what they can do off the edge with Ruben Bain and Keem Mesidor. Those guys are absolute freaks. Why would you risk DJ Lagway back there, just sitting back there saying, all right, let's throw it 50 times versus Miami? I think this game is a really good test for Miami. I really do. And I think Miami's really good. I think Carson Beck has been awesome. Did throw 2 picks last week. A little minor note to keep an eye on, because in these types of games, and the pass that he made to who was the receiver? CJ
Daniels.
Yes. The incredible catch wasn't the throw that you're watching film and being like, good job. It's like great play from your receiver. This is something to keep an eye on in this game for Carson Beck, because I think he'll have more pressure than he's faced yet, even including from what we've learned from Notre Dame. I still think Florida is very much alive in this game to possibly win it. I think Florida is a really tough out, but I would expect Florida to run the football a whole heck of a lot more than they did against LSU.
I would tend to agree. I think Florida's offensive line has played really damn well this year. Like, they have a number of future pros on that line. And matchup of the week is probably Bain versus Barber, right? Like, Barber's a really nice looking tackle for Florida. Bain is like a total stud, just plays at a different speed relative to his body mass than most guys that size can ever hope to achieve. With Florida's passing game, I'm probably not going to give them the explosive looks. I'm just going to make Lagway and those guys be on the same page and deliver the football accurately. And we got a lot of crap for this in the offseason, and because we were all constantly caveating, hey, if he's healthy, right? If he's right, I think, I had him number 1 in my quarterback rankings, like, based on upside. And the downside is, he was pretty banged up over the summer, probably more than Florida let on. How much did he actually get to work with these receivers? And Eugene Wilson was hurt over the summer, and Dallas, got put in a boot. And those guys play like a team that has not played together very much. Florida's run defense has been nailed so far this year. Pass defense, I don't think that some of their pass rushers that they hyped in the offseason are quite as good as maybe they hoped they would be. But the Gums kid is really nice. Like, they have some real players up front who I think Florida is better along the line of scrimmage than the Irish were. And I think they will give Miami more of a test in that way. I thought CJ Carr was pretty good overall against A&M, actually, and showed some real promise. So, can Lagway play at that level? Can the receivers do anything to help him out in this game? I don't know. But if Florida can get home with 4 somehow, because Beck is just, dude, he's been able to make, not only make a sandwich, but operate an entire Subway back there if he wanted to. He probably should get an NIL deal off that and just hey, all right, yeah, okay, extra pickles, here you go.
And then peppers.
Right, yeah, exactly. All right, you want to make it a foot long? So, no free ads, but if Florida can't get pressure, this is probably a good night. And so far, they have not been able to get pressure against a pretty crappy LSU offensive line, and they were not able to get a whole lot of pressure on USF. So, can that change? If not, it's game over. But they have athletes.
Yeah, it's hard because of the narrative and vibe surrounding these programs, based on how things are going right now. But I think you have to ignore that when looking at this matchup, because you touched on it, Bud. Along the lines of scrimmage, we know how I feel about Miami. I think it's the best combo in the country by far. I think Florida's is pretty good too. Yeah. They're very good on the offensive line. I think their defensive line is good. And you can, they've only got a couple sacks this year, but the context of that is they faced an extremely mobile quarterback in Byron Brown in the first one, who was able to get away and escape when they did get pressure. And sometimes he'd escape to where Florida kind of wanted him to go, making bad throws. And then they faced Nussmeier last week, who his one greatest trait for me so far has always been his ability to avoid sacks in the pocket and get out. So there's context needed there. I think the pass rush is decent. I think the offensive line is good. I think the defensive line is good. And I think defensively, they only lost by 10 last week. They had 5 freaking turnovers, but the defense kept them in the game. And here's a fun little fact just related to that. Florida has turnover margin of -3 on the season, which ranks 113th, but their points off turnover margin is +4 anyway, because the defense just gets the ball back. They don't give up the points after our offense loses the ball. So I think this game is essentially going to come down to 2 things. It's Carson Beck versus DJ Lagway. Can DJ Lagway finally start living up to the potential, or is he just going to be the next really talented guy who could be a great quarterback but never figures it out? I don't think that's decided this week, but I think you definitely want to see a better performance than what you saw last week. And on the other side of that, and I think one of the problems Lagway's dealt with, Florida's pass catchers versus Miami's. I know Miami's are good. I'm yet to really see it from Florida's. I think that they need to have we need to see somebody in that unit step forward to be a guy that DJ Lagway can rely on and turn to when things aren't going well. So I don't think this will be a blowout. I think Florida's defense is way too good to allow Miami to blow the doors off of them in this game. But I also think Florida is at serious risk if the offense is terrible again, because we can talk about the 5 turnovers last week, but we can't forget they didn't score points against South Florida either. Like the offense has just been bad. If the offense doesn't show any signs of life, how long before the defense just says F this?
Quick factor.
Yeah, like what the hell are we even doing out here? So it's a huge game, I think, for Florida. And I know you're saying they're 1-2. Of course, it's a huge game. But I just think as far as the rest of the season plays out, like they could lose this game, but if they play well and the offense looks good, the team could stay bought in. And that's the one thing we saw last year, even when Napier was like on the verge of being fired. The team never quit on him.
Yeah.
So you can hope that maintains throughout the season. But also, I can't believe we are this far into this big game breakdown, and we haven't mentioned the Escape Room Bowl.
That's great.
It's
We got to
amazing.
make a graphic for that.
Oh my God.
That's
Clue number 1. Properly execute a 4th down scenario at the plus 45. Clue number 2.
If you look at their turnover EPA, like they're not that far like down, right? But if you take off what happened in the Long Island game and you look at just the FBS games, it's definitely pretty rough.
take care of the damn ball.
But to your point earlier, 1 sack against Long Island, 1 sack against South Florida, 2 sacks on the season has you dead last among SEC teams. I know sacks. I know that the sacks are a counting stat and don't always represent pressures, but man, bringing a quarterback down when you've got a pretty strong defensive front, you'd like to see a little bit more there.
You know, in hindsight, and granted, everybody's got 20/20 hindsight, right? Like letting Pyburn go to LSU may have been a mistake because Tyreek Sapp has not really been an impact player for them this year, especially not in the pass rush game. And obviously, like, you know, they have McCray, the 5-star who they paid a ton for out of high school, which I thought was a great investment. And he's just been hurt.
Yeah.
So like they kind of needed him as a second-year guy to step up. That's kind of a theme across college football. Like you can't afford to keep everybody in most situations. So, like, who did you let walk and how's it working out for you? And we talked about USC at running back. They're like, all right, cool, Joyner, go to Texas Tech. We won't miss you. We love this junior college kid. So far, that's working out great for USC. I mean, obviously, we hope Joyner gets healthy for Texas Tech and comes back strong. But like, regardless of injury, the replacement's been good value. For Florida, the Pyburn replacement, especially with the McCray injury, has not worked out.
Yep. Elsewhere across all of week 4, we got Arizona State at Baylor. We've got the Iron Skillet, SMU at TCU. Ole Miss welcomes in Tulane, as we were talking about Trinidad Chambliss earlier. Lots more too. Tom, grab a matchup, grab a X factor, a matchup point. What do you got your eyes on as we're breaking down these games for week 4?
Arizona State, Baylor. Jordan Tyson's really good. We all agree, right?
Yeah.
Maybe Sam Levitt should try throwing to somebody else. Because the entire passing game for Arizona State is, I'm just going to throw the ball to Jordan Tyson. He's very good. He catches most of them. He gets a lot of yards. But it's pretty simple for defenses to defend you when they know you're only going to one guy in the passing game. So you got to figure out, somebody needs to step forward. You need to move the ball around. You need to find other ways to get other guys the ball, or else you're going to become very easy to defend. And then maybe you just lean on the run, because Baylor to this point has – I don't think they've been terrible against the pass. Now, we talked about it earlier. Some of that was strategy against Auburn. They were taking it away and giving up the run. But I also don't think they've been good against the run, even in just basic kind of run-stopping situations. So if I'm Arizona State, I got Raleek Brown. I've got, a couple backs. I wish I still had Cam Scatabo in this matchup, but I'm probably leaning on the run game here. I think that is your best bet to win, because it'll also keep, Sawyer Robertson and that offense off the field.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Chip.
Oh, yeah, I'm just glad you mentioned Raleek Brown. He was somebody that was not on my radar coming into the season. We talked about the transfer, Kanye Udo coming in and picking up for Cam Scattaboo. Raleek Brown is, one of those remember some dudes from National Signing Day. Blue chip prospect, goes to USC. He's moved around between running back and wide receiver, doesn't play a lot as a sophomore, transfers to Arizona State, and now has really come into his own, going over 100 yards in each of the last 2 games. And he's got one of these looks of these 4th or 5th year journeymen where I'm watching his post-game press conference and he's mature. He's been through it. He did not have his college dreams realized as a 19-year-old like he thought was going to happen when he was a blue chip signing up to be a skill player at USC. But man, he has waited his turn. He is getting his opportunities. I've enjoyed that as a smaller story for Arizona State within this offensive room. Raleek Brown kind of finding his own here in his 4th or 5th year of action.
I would like to see him run the ball more.
You would like Raleek to run the ball more.
I would like them to just hand the football off more often. I don't know. Like, are they like this increase in passing rate because they don't have Scatabo or because they don't trust the offensive line? Like, I know the O-line struggled in week 1 and they were kind of game scripted into passing the ball a ton last week because they got down so early against Mississippi State. But I would like to see them a little bit more running the football.
They've got to be just more diverse than Sam Levitt and Jordan Tyson. That's way too much of their offense is too reliant on them. I talked to a coach who was on the staff at Arizona State last year, and I was asking him, what about you guys got to be fired up about Kanye Udo? And he was like, whoa. He's like, I don't know if he's going to play. He's like, we really liked Raleek Brown. So they were like, he was big on him saying, don't be surprised if Kanye Udo isn't the lead back like everybody assumes.
Yeah. And Udo's gotten he's gotten some run, but Brown seems to be, it's like Brown, I think Brown and Levitt are the team's 2 leading rushers statistically.
Yep.
But yeah, Udo's gotten in there just a little bit. What about the Baylor side of that before we move on? What do we want to see from the Bears? They're home favorites.
Ounce of defense.
Game. Yeah. And any defense.
Can they run the football? I mean, like Sawyer so far has been carrying these guys, throwing the ball a million times. Like, do they want to achieve offensive balance? Can they actually, can you live with Sawyer dropping back 50 times a game? I don't know if that's how you really want to live.
Danny, what other matchups stand out to you?
From this game or from the weekend?
Either one.
I'll go Tulane-Ole Miss. I mean, quietly, John Sumrall has just been winning. He just beat Duke. They beat Darian Mensah in that return game. I mentioned Trinidad Chambliss. I'm very curious to see if he picks up where he left off for Ole Miss, lighten up Arkansas. It's a tricky spot for Ole Miss. And I know this is one of those games where John Sumrall gets his guys up. I think they're one of the more physical group of 5 programs out there that comes as direct correlation when you take on the personality of your coach. I think that game's going to be pretty interesting.
I would agree with that for sure.
Ole Miss's defense has to play a lot better.
Is Simmons back? Because I got to say, man, Tulane's getting bet this morning like Simmons is not back.
But is that smart? See, I
don't know. I was listening to my investment advice saying that Trinidad Chambliss might be like the best path to be able to win 10 games and make the college football playoff.
Honestly, I don't care who's at quarterback in this game. Ole Miss needs to run the damn ball.
Yeah,
because I think you can run a lot on Tulane with your personnel. I think you'd be able to find a decent amount of success.
I just don't think that O-line is like, I don't think they're anything special this year. And I think Arkansas' defense is
offensive line.
Yeah, I think Ole Miss's offensive line is rough.
I mean, I'm seeing reports from yesterday that says Austin Simmons is back, ready to return. I'm still buying my Trinidad Chambliss. Still hanging on to that one.
Yeah, Tulane got Duke behind the 8 ball, jumped out 24-3, and then just kind of got to defend it the rest of the way.
Where does Ole Miss rank in terms of like most untrustworthy teams when it comes to believing injury reports?
Top of the list.
I mean, Utah.
Unless Utah's quarterback is dead, it's Ole Miss number 1.
Yeah.
What other games have y'all's attention? Yeah, how are you looking at Iron Skillet?
So can SMU cover anybody? are these veteran DBs any good? If not, like I like some of the young guys they signed. So it may be time for a youth movement in the secondary. Like this is probably about the last time that we're going to need to see these veterans for SMU get torched if that happens. At that point, it's like, all right, what's the real sense of not throwing the young guys out there? Because they're so far they have been like hot trash in the secondary.
Anything under 70 is green light go.
Yeah.
Because TCU can. I think TCU can block them pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
TCU's
Lashley said Jennings is healthy. He did get banged up late there against Missouri State.
TCU's only played 2 games. They looked incredible against North Carolina, but we also know they were extremely fired up for that game. You would assume they're going to be extremely fired up for this game. And I know, like, if you look at last week's score against Abilene Christian, don't let it fool you. It was 42-0 at halftime or 28-0 at halftime. And TCU just kind of, all of Abilene Christian's points came late in the game in garbage time. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. I think TCU looked very good in the one game I was able to watch it. And I don't think SMU has looked that good the times I've watched it. So I feel like this is TCU's game to lose.
Back to Danny's bye, the throws that Hoover made against North Carolina. We called out a couple of those North Carolina defensive backs, but some of the throws and that he was able to put right on the money were extremely impressive. So if SMU's got defensive back issues, it will be exposed by this quarterback in this passing attack.
He does still need to learn when to just get rid of the ball and I don't mean like, throw on time. I just mean get rid of the ball. Don't try to complete every single pass. It's not always there.
Yep.
Arkansas Memphis is pretty interesting.
Very interesting.
Like, I don't really know why Arkansas is going to stop Memphis. They couldn't stop Trinidad, and I don't think Arkansas is like an SEC level defense. So,
do you think,
we'll see on that.
Do you think South Carolina gets off the mat?
No.
I don't either.
But
our new friends, the Missouri Tigers. Boy, I tell you,
that's right. We love the Missouri Tigers.
Missouri's legit.
Dominate on 3. 1, 2, 3. Hey, I tell you what, I hear Eli talking about dominating. That is a team that dominates on Saturdays.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Yeah, I don't see them getting even like Lenoris plays, Lenoris doesn't play. I still think Missouri, based on how good Missouri has looked, is a proper favorite in that game.
Yeah, they're favored by 11.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's assuming Lenoris doesn't play, right? That
Correct.
Is priced that way.
Yes. And what's your Lenoris to Doty adjustment? 3?
Yeah, not more, but a whole 3.
Yeah, so
a healthy 3.
Let's pressure test this. If Lenoris is in, you would lay more than a touchdown with Missouri in Columbia.
Up to 10.
Yeah, I think I would lay 7.5.
I'd go up to 10.
Yeah, I wouldn't lay 10, but yeah, okay. But you would lay more than a touchdown.
Yeah, that's not what I've seen so far.
I think I would as well, especially because Lenoris is their run game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's. I hate it for Beamer and those guys because I think he's nice guy. They're in real danger of missing a bowl.
Mm-hmm. I know.
That's
it. Be like that. That's it
does be like that.
It be like that sometimes.
It do be like that sometimes.
What about like Wyoming, Colorado? Wyoming defensively was pretty game last week. Offensively, they can't score on anybody. So if Colorado gets to like 17, they should be safe.
What's the motivation against Kent State?
Gus typically loves to run it up on these bad teams. If you watch this, go back to 2023 UCF Kent State. They played about a similar quality Kent State team. And I think they scored 60 and covered with 4 or 5 turnovers. He was pedal down the entire time. Now, will Mike Norvell let him do that with the starters in? I don't. That's kind of where it's all right, head coach versus coordinator. Is he going to let him keep pedal down? But I bet you he'll let him keep pedal down with the backups.
I was going to say, if you put the backups in, can Kent State still stop those guys?
Yeah, Sperry and Glenn could probably score some on Kent State. Texas Tech last week clearly called the dogs off.
Brocktober comes early.
Yeah.
Let's go.
They
All
like
right.
they like the Sperry kid.
Okay.
He's more of a runner.
Love to see it. I mean, and Gus loves to see it. Let's go.
Yeah.
All
Absolutely.
right. Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern time. It is everyone's favorite time of the week. We will gather back here together at youtube.com/cover3 to run through our week 4 locks. And you get in, you drive up the likes, we give you the locks move the lines. Again, you get up the likes, we give you the locks move the lines. It pays to watch live. Okay, so be sure you're here. Then after Thursday, we'll be back Saturday night, 11:30 p.m. Eastern time to recap everything that we saw, everything we were right about, everything we were wrong about from week 4. And you can follow him on Twitter at Tom Fornelli. You can follow him at Danny Kanell. You can follow him at Bud Elliott 3. Follow me at Chip _Patterson. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you.